I was hesitant to make this video on my phone, but I figure I'd rather tell you guys about a week sooner than wait until I was at my computer and could edit everything. So I have to one-take this. So we had a vote on the future direction of the company, and it had 4 main options. And this really wasn't a company vote so much as a me vote, because I needed to narrow my focus again. So the end goal there's 2 end goals that we had. We, 1, wanted to be a company that made money, and 2, we wanted to make Titan's Battalion, specifically that game, which is why it's been hard to disentangle those 2. Like, I'm working on Titan's Battalion, but Titan's Battalion isn't making money. It won't make money until we get the full thing together, and even then it might not. So it's kind of a money sink that is ingrained into the company's core. So that, on top of the other distractions, begged the question, what direction do we go? Option 1 was YouTube. And the reason that was an option is because I have done tons of research on it. I know how to get better at video editing. I know how to put out quality content. It just takes time that I previously had been unwilling to put into it. So I was basically asking permission, like, hey, if we focus on the audience and the community and doing things that way, what can we do? Can we make that work? We didn't pick YouTube. Option 2 was to full focus on launching allchess.com, which, I just realized this is the first you've heard of it. I bought that domain for about $5,000 back in December 2022. I bought it. It was my money, not company direct money, because I believed in the idea. Because after doing all the necessary market research you're supposed to do when launching a product, in this case a game, I found that the chess variant community is very scattered. Everyone who's into things makes their own. Everyone. From the lowest level person who is like loosely interested in it, all the way up, they just make their own shit. So that means it's very scattered, it's very fragmented. You have your 5D chess people, your Chess Evolved Online people, your Mad Chess people, and they come and go in like little fads and bursts. Your Chesscraft people, that's one of the larger and more successful ones, because it caters to the desire to make your own stuff. It's very limited compared to our plans for All Chess, but that's how it works. I'll briefly explain allchess.com as well. Just because it's still part of our future plans, even though we didn't decide on full focusing it right now. Because we still own the domain for the next 10 years, and I'm going to renew it, you know? Alright. So, there was 3 parts to allchess.com. 1, it needed to be able to support Titan's Battalion. Okay. Fair enough. 2, we wanted to have a Game of the Month format, where we would pick a chess variant, even if it was really wacky and out there, and find a way to get it playable on the website. Hopefully some of that implementation would be universalized in a way that we could reuse later, which we'll get to more in option 3. But that Game of the Month would be the main game that everyone is supposed to play that month, and we would have to format the UI in a way that it funnels you into that game first. Now, that game, at the end of the month, we would hold a tournament. Originally, it was going to be cash prize, where people entered and then they could get money back. But the problem is, since we wanted to do this on such a large scale, because it is free-to-play, pay-to-compete model, we figured out that it's impossible on our scales at this time, by the time we got everything running, to have good anti-cheat. And by good anti-cheat, I mean at the tier of chess.com or better for whatever game it is. It just isn't feasible for us. And it's already debatable whether or not chess.com does a good job of that. I personally think they do, and I know what I have to learn in order to make it happen, but that's a big issue with cash prize tournaments. So what we settled on instead is the winner gets to pick the charity that everything gets donated to. And of course gets all the titles and the prestige, and is mostly like an honor badge. And that also is just a good thing. Raising money for charity every month with this tournament, just playing chess tournaments, that works. That's something I can live with. That's something my audience can live with. That's something the players can live with. All right. So the third part of allchess.com would be a custom variant maker that would have the features of every game of the month that we'd ever put in, and of course all of Titan's Battalion. And these game of the months were intended to be stuff like we would do Chess Evolved Online just for 1 month. It would be playable on the website, but with a limited pool of guys. If you want to see what the first pool was, just pull up Evolved Battalion. It was those pieces, and only those pieces. But it was a full CEO implementation just for that month. And it would have been great. And it would have exposed people to that, and the two communities could have collabed. Everyone in CEO would have been hyped for like a new format where they're playing with a limited pool, but they have all the units. And then when everything's done, people go play CEO, which, pros and cons to directing people to other games, but it's not a bad game, and I respect the shit out of the dev after speaking to him so much. Same with Mad Chess. Same with anything we wanted to work. There's a few people making like circle chess and like isometric chess and like stuff like that on YouTube. And then there's these ancient variants or these traditional variants that deserve so much recognition. Tamerlane chess, after looking into it more, is a really cool game. Like, I've played a little bit with it. That game has so much depth. It's like Chu Shogi levels of, there's this much here? Not even mentioning Shogi, Chu Shogi, Shangchi, Jungi, Makrook, Makpong, Chaturanga, Shatranj. Man, there's so many different variants to play, which is part of the problem, right? Okay. So we do that. We make everything work. And that's allchess.com. And that is most likely the end state of what we're going to be creating. But it isn't what we're doing first, because I can full focus on just developing that website to that point. But the problem is it's an entire game's worth of dev work every month. That's a lot of work for something that is not likely to be profitable in the first 2 years. It may not be sustainable to do that. And as a businessman, I have to address that, and we had to decide whether or not we were going to take that risk now. Okay, which brings us to option 3. Option 3 was to look at all of our other ideas and become a full-on indie dev studio and make games just in bursts, sell them on Steam, in bursts, sell them on Steam, because we have tons of ideas, right? I'm an idea factory, and the people around me contribute to it in a way that just solidifies something. In just a few days, we can have an idea and then be able to run with it. Everything from physical games to otherwise. There's this... I'm not going to start a rant talking about different game ideas we've had, but there's dozens of just cool ideas that we could really sink our teeth into and make work. We didn't pick that option, which meant we aren't focusing fully, by this point, on company profit. With allchess.com as the option, the focus would have been sustainability of that website, and we would have been trying our best to make it work and struggling for years and years, and probably operating on donations before we even start making money off of the tournaments. Okay. Last option, the one we went with. This one is one that felt at first like a cop-out, but we had to include it. And after looking at it, it's the one we decided on. We are going to banana farm this shit. Everyone involved is an intelligent person capable of making a decent amount of money. So we're going to embrace capitalism as Americans and find the best ways to make money. And then we're going to invest some of that back into paying other people to make the things happen that we can't. Like, I can either spend 2 years beating my face into fairy stockfish and web design and all this and become a really talented dev in my own right, in that sense, not just as a game dev. Or I can work at the capacity I know I'm capable of, trying to maximize profit, and end up being able to pay 2 or 3 other people good money to do that. Because there are people that are passionate enough about one thing that they will just do it. And I'm one of those people, but I can also capitalize on that. So yeah, we're banana farming this shit, which means we're all going to go off, do other things, and continue working on this as a side hustle. But there's a risk that this all fails because of that option. So I need to at least finish the human dev work behind making Titan's Battalion. All of the alpha battalions need to be in beta. That is on me. No one else can do that. I can't pay anyone else to do that. And that also means that we've taken the burden off of the company to make an immediate profit. Could we try to sell things later? Yeah, but nobody is putting their entire possible future into that, which means we can afford to just do it and fail and be okay with that. Fail at making money, but we'll make a damn good game. A couple of them. It also means that I don't get to make nearly as much of the things that I want to. At least not right now. I'm 25, I probably have a good 50 more years to work on all of my little side projects. But I need to finish this one. These 2, competitive and party mode. And put together fully formed, solidified rules documents with everything finalized. Or at least out of the human test phase. Competitive has an entire computer test phase to do as well. That is difficult, and I'm probably going to have to do most of that dev work myself as well. Just because no one else has the context I do. And that's why I'm still getting a computer science degree, even though it's the part of my degree I'm least likely to use. I'm mostly looking at business because I want to make really good money. I mean, really good money. I'm not going to get into this whole, I have ideas on how I can make money, because that never ages well. I'm going to learn things in 5 years, 10 years trying that'll make me go, I was stupid. So, I am now wise enough to keep my mouth shut. And that's where we'll end it off. Thank you for listening. This doesn't affect the community too much. Our little group of 20 somewhat active people, a third of which are just people I roped into being devs who now are accepting this new reality. And for half of them, this was already their plan. It's okay, I can't do much, but I can work and then I could put money in every now and then.